All right, we are live. Okay, let's see. All right. Get the live chat going. Cool. So yeah, I already just started a little chat on the side. If you guys want to ask any questions as we go along here, this will probably just be me babbling and blabbing for, oh God, I hope only a half an hour. So we'll see. If you're like, I can't watch this any longer and you want to come back and watch it at a later time, it does get saved to our YouTube channel. Man, I need another haircut already. Cheese Louise. All right, we'll take a couple minutes here, just make sure everyone who's watching this can actually get chair. So, man, my hair is crazy to do. Oh, I did wash it yesterday. That's the problem. But Eric, that's gross. Yeah, so we're going to talk about recovery. We're going to talk about, man, I'm going to give a lot of 2 cents on a lot of things, but really it's mainly going to be responding to an email that Todd sent, which I think is a great thing. You guys can always feel free to email me or text me or WhatsApp a specific question. And if it's something as lengthy as this, I'll definitely make a video about it. And this is definitely a subject, recovery, muscle recovery, workout recovery, energy recovery, life recovery. That's definitely something that, it's just a constant thing we're all trying to figure out, right? And it looks different from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, decade to decade. It just looks different. So, I mean, man, recovery, even in the short time that I've been doing, exercising on a regular basis, 15 years. I mean, my recovery process looks wildly different year to year. Oh my God, we got 4 people. I don't think I've ever seen 4 people actually watching one of my videos. Okay. Give me actually just a second, guys. So please, hey, crazy hair. Todd, damn you. You don't have to call it the crazy hair, the crazy hair. All right. So please do type in some questions. If you guys have any other questions that are recovery related, muscle soreness, injury, supplementation, anything like that, any kind of food related things, I'm all about it. Give me 1 second. I do have to go to the bathroom really quick. I just wanted to hop on and make sure we're on time. So I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick and I'll be right back. So hang tight. Okay. And we lost one. Going to the bathroom, you lose a viewer. Okay. So today we're talking about, I'm going to try to only look 2 places at my phone for notes and then at the camera. So I apologize if I start wandering with my eyes. We're talking about recovery. So a lot of things I already just did it. one of the things I was just thinking about um, is kind of making it. I like to make analogies of things. So like um, to me, the whole recovery process really starts at doing the exercise itself or just living, right? So every single day you're moving your body, you're getting up out of bed, you're walking, you're sitting, you're moving. Hopefully you're exercising a little bit. So all of these things take a pretty wild toll. Even the most minimal amount of things can take a toll on the body, especially in this day and age, because I think it's actually worse because we're sitting a lot. So, oh crap, of course. Okay. And of course, I'm going to be interrupted here in a little bit by a order I have being delivered. Yeah, so I apologize when that happens. Anyway, so really recovery, it starts at the moment of, whenever the quote unquote trauma takes place. Now, trauma is obviously a pretty intense word. But so when you're doing the exercise, let's just try to keep it as specific as possible, because I know you guys are obviously thinking about exercise recovery. But I'm trying to like peel it back as far as I can. So, or at least to start there. So when you're doing the movements, let's just take squats. If you're doing them incorrectly, you're already setting yourself behind the eight ball in terms of recovery. And so because there's potential for injury, there's potential for overusage of certain joints, ligaments, all those kind of things. So recovery really does start with, so this will be my first point, how to recover better. Do the exercise to the best of your ability. Do it consistently. Do it like thinking about which muscles and joints are supposed to be moving and squeezing and holding and all those kind of things. So if you're kind of like, checking out because you're doing, burpees and squats and snatches and all this stuff, it can get, it's one thing to go mindless on a burpee. It's another thing to go mindless on a snatch and just throw the weight around. So then you're out here instead of here. I mean, all these kind of things kind of start to add up. And I mean, quite literally, all those knots in our muscles and things like that we feel soreness from tend to be really the result of improper movement patterns. Making Pring Prong get the lazy cat. He is. He's literally sleeping. He's like sleeping in his bowl right behind me. Or right behind the computer. So, I mean, doing the movement properly is really going to be huge. Okay, in those moments too, when you're actually exercising, breathing. I'm going to say the second thing is breathing. So easy to forget this one, but I mean, what is muscle recovery? It is like the repair of the muscle tissue. Okay, at the cellular level. I mean, it's like really like those micro tears and all those kind of things. Like that experience as to what happens to our muscle fibers during exercise, or even just during movement, during a squat, anything like that, during a push-up. So breathing can really help expedite the process and get all those, get oxygen and get things moving to the point where your body is functioning at a high level. So recovery really does hinge on proper body function, liver functioning properly. Sorry guys, if you want to drink a couple of glasses of wine or a couple of glasses of beer, that will inhibit recovery for a lot of different reasons. But one of them is just liver function changes, kidney function, lung function, heart function, all these things, affect recovery. So especially the liver. I mean, the liver has a huge part to do with all this. So unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but proper body function has a lot to do with it. But the breathing really can help, coordinate all that. Okay, so breathing in the moment, doing the movements right. And I'm not going to keep going back because I'm always going to forget all the stuff I'm saying, but I'm trying to keep it as succinct as possible. So, so beyond the movements and the breathing themselves, it is going to be also like, rest, how you breathe during your rest, stretching before and after. So all those things, they do start at the time of the exercise. Okay, the warm up is a part of your recovery. The cool down, whatever you're doing, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes after the workout, all those things. And again, obviously the workout itself, the recovery is already starting or being hindered. Okay, so like one of the reasons that we do a lot of, I got 5 years now. This is insane. Thanks, guys. So one of the reasons we do a lot of different movements throughout CrossFit, but also just like trying to mix it up, is to not overload certain movements. So like if we did push-ups every single day, I mean, you would get some like potential injuries or just so tight and so overloaded in those areas. Now, every once in a while, that can be okay. So, like maybe one day we're doing push-ups, the next day we're doing snatches, using similar and all, mostly the same muscle groups, just doing a little bit differently. Part of that is to help the recovery. Okay, if we're just doing this every single day, we're not going to let those muscles recover. So part of it is not overloading on a consistent basis. Every once in a while, it's okay to overload. So every once in a while, it's okay to do lunges, squats, and box jumps, right? But we're not going to do that on a normal basis because that's just going to leave you without being able to walk for like the entire week. And that's not really my goal as a trainer. And it's not necessarily beneficial for you guys. Every once in a while, it's okay to kind of overload a certain area. And so you'll see those kind of trends. And I usually try to explain that in the workouts. But again, so it really does all start at the workout. And what you're doing from the prior day is already leading into that. So a big part of this is the 24-hour cycle. And I will get specifically to Todd's questions here in a little bit. So, but the 24-hour cycle is a big part of this. Okay, it's a big part of our circadian rhythm is a really big part of recovery. So if you, whatever you did the day prior before that, like everything's starting to kind of, Venn diagram itself over each other. And so that's my job as a trainer, is to try to make those things mesh as much as possible. You might have a Monday or Tuesday where your legs are kind of like, holy crap, but hopefully we're like letting them heal a little bit more. Like I'm not going to have you guys do squats 5 days a week. Okay. That would just be irresponsible of me. You might be using your legs, but you're not going to necessarily be pounding away at squats all week. Okay. Which is why when people usually do their own programs, even for myself, I can be totally honest, I will tend to overload certain areas and like really dig myself into a ditch. And so even recently for me, I've been having to, which is why I really wanted to address this. I've been having to do some really soul searching when it comes to my own recovery as a trainer, because even though I will do certain things for my clients, my people, sometimes I don't do them for myself. So I'm kind of having to look in the mirror and do that. Okay. So we'll get to the actual stuff that you guys are interested in, which is I'll just read off. Actually, I'm going to wait just a second because I am going to get that order here in just a second. So, okay, so let's move away from the actual exercise itself. We did a little, we did a warm up, we did a workout, we did a cool down. Okay. So now our muscles are sore. We just did a bunch of squats and push-ups. Okay. And so, obviously the trauma, the inflammation is still all happening right there. And let's not, dance around it. Like exercise is very inflammatory in the acute sense. It's actually anti-inflammatory overall. It's an amazing regulator of the body in terms of cardiovascular and central nervous system and all that kind of stuff, and just bodily organ function and all that kind of good stuff. But in the short term, it is very inflammatory. That's the heat and the inflammation, the soreness, that's all a part of that. So how do we deal with that right after the workout? Obviously some sort of cool down, even if it's just a couple gentle stretches, definitely makes a big deal. Doing a gentle, we've done this a couple times in our workouts, a gentle breathing exercise can make a big difference. Just 5 minutes of kind of bringing yourself back down. I actually watched a really interesting clip on the Joe Rogan Experience, which I'll send out to you guys. But it was some guy, I think he was maybe MMA like related in some way. Like he wasn't an athlete, but I think he was talking about MMA, and basically was talking about how the most elite athletes are really, really good at taking it to the level of like zone, like just dummy 1,000 burpees for time. They're walking to the octagon. They see 10,000 people around them or whatever it is, and they just zone in on what they have to do. They're also really good at, so that zoning comes in terms of like flow when we're like doing the like bout, whether it's exercise or a fight or whatever, or an athletic performance. And it also comes down to like being able to meditate. So being able to go high and go low is a really, really important, crucial factor in recovery. If your body is like the plasticity, or am I saying that word right? So like the flexibility basically of your nervous system is really, really crucial to being able to recover well. If you don't have, if you don't have that flexibility, it can be problematic. But you can create that flexibility. That's an awesome thing about. That's part of the reason we're exercising, is that we're trying to like increase that. But if you're always increasing and never taking it back down to a breathing level, to a meditation level, it can be problematic. So you're always just ramping up and you're never ramping down. Okay. And that starts to catch up with you. So like, even if you're getting good sleep or you're like having some downtime, you know, like whatever, you're doing all the stretching, all the foam rolling, which we'll get into in a second, you know, it might not be enough. Cause again, that 24-hour cycle really starts to catch up with you. So, being able to like actually fit in some really kind of, you know, purposeful taking it down a notch. And that might look like a day off. That might look like a couple of days off. That might look like a week off. But when I say off, I mean actively working on your recovery, not just like stepping away from exercise. Okay. Yeah, these people are almost here, so I'll have to skip out in just a second. So I apologize in advance. But don't go anywhere, because I'm definitely going to continue, and I'm actually going to get to Todd's actual email in just a second here. Okay, so yeah, so right after the workout, the stuff is already happening. So water is going to be a huge one. And I think, so Todd sent me Tia Claire Toomey's, 6 best things you can do for recovery. And one of them was hydrate. I absolutely agree. And that really does come into before, during, and after. You don't want to overhydrate. I mean, that is an actual fear, or a concern, I should say, that most people don't really consider these days. And this is a real kind of touchy subject for a lot of people, because everyone's like, well, we're made of water and we need all this water. Definitely true. But everyone's a little bit different. So you kind of have to play with your own hydration levels. So if you can overhydrate, okay. Also, especially if you're on a low salt or medium salt or any kind of salt restrictive diet, if you're not getting in those electrolytes, and I'm talking about like good salt, like Himalayan salt, sea salts, if you're not getting in those good salts, either on your food or a little sprinkle in your water, you can actually be like depleting your electrolytes if you're just guzzling down water and peeing clear every single time. So your pee should have a little bit of color in it, like a little bit of yellow. It should not be super white, or like super white. It should not be super clear. It definitely shouldn't be dark. Shouldn't be clear. Okay, so you can overdo it, but just couple of little sips here and there. I always think of like a boxer. So I'm not going to be spitting out water or anything, but like I always think of like a boxer, just little sips before, during the warm up. You don't want to be waterlogged like during the workout. So, maybe just quick little sips, so your recovery time during the workout, again, going back to the workout, breathing through the nose, out through the mouth, a little gentle, and then little sips. But yes, hydration is a big thing. And that's something you can do right after the workout. Okay, that's my delivery. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Jeez Louise, it's like such a process now, putting on the mask and everything. Okay, cool. So, whoa, Tammy, geez Louise is hitting with a bunch of questions. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. Let's just get into what Tia Claire Toomey's kind of 6 recovery things are, and we'll get to this. So one is scheduling a deload. week. And then Todd, I will respond to your question specifically. A deload week. Okay. This is definitely something I think is good. You also kind of have to remember like what she's going through in terms of intensity. And this is actually a really interesting thing altogether, which is we have all this access to people on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and they're doing their workouts and all that stuff. Not them. So you kind of have to take everything they say with a grain of salt in terms of the input, but also the like output. So like all the things they're doing might not necessarily apply to you, which is why I always caution people to doing like the exact word. Oh yeah, I just saw this workout online. I'm going to do that. You have no idea what else that person's doing. So like you have to put things into context for your own training and for your own body. Okay, but scheduling a deload week could absolutely be a great thing. So let's just say you're like not feeling like recovered. It's really starting to ramp up, like the constant same things are hurting all the time. You're constantly having like your shoulders hurt or your back hurts or whatever it is. You can absolutely still show up to the workouts and just be like, you know, Eric, I think today I need to do some things, or you could always reach out to me specifically, be like, I really need to take some time away from doing the intensity part. Is there something else I can be doing today? Absolutely. Okay. So we can always come up with some things for you to do that. It is kind of dependent upon you to come up with that solution, only in the sense that like, you know, or should know as an athlete when it's time for you to deload a little bit. So for me as the coach, I definitely try to ebb and flow. So like we'll have a recovery Wednesday or Saturday, or sometimes both, sometimes neither. So it just depends on like, you know, so if we're having neither and you know that, you're going to need to program in some extra time, even if it's only 10, 15, 20 minutes a day for your own recovery. Okay. If you're having, but again, if there's just something that's nagging, that's just really, really terrible, barring any kind of like surgery or any kind of like actual injury that's going on, if it's just constantly inflamed, my quads are always tight, then that really is a signal for you to take time. There's not enough time, and I keep going back to this, the 24-hour cycle. There's not enough time in that cycle for you to just foam roll, drink some extra water, get a little bit extra sleep, and call it good. There's not enough time, especially if it's just a consistent, constant thing. It's one thing to have like tight quads on a Monday and then it's fine by Thursday. But it's another thing to like, you know, by the next following Tuesday, they're still terrible. That's a alarm from your body to be like, dude, chill it out. So yes, deloading can definitely be a good thing. She says that every 4 to 5 weeks, she takes a week off. Again, her intensity is like twice a day, 3 times a day. She's doing like heavy weights, Olympic cycles, tons of cardio, all this crazy stuff, insane, like diet specific stuff too. So there's a lot of things that like to take kind of with a grain of salt in that, but I definitely like the idea of every once in a while, like always just check in with yourself. And if you just are constantly checking in with yourself and you're constantly being like, damn, I hurt today, that is a signal for you to not just check out and just to avoid working out, but to work in, which is kind of like a phrase I've been trying to, I coined or copied from somebody, just to be like, hey man, that's a really good way to think about it, which is like, I'm not just going to work out today. I'm going to work into some certain things to kind of like get through this pain and restriction or injury, or even like pre-injury, in order to get past it. Okay. Number 2 is sleep. I think that should be number 1. I mean, to be quite honest, long story short, too late. What's one of the best things you can do for recovery is sleep. I know no one wants to hear that. It's not sexy. It is something that we tend to like skip on when things get busy in our lives. I kid you not, it is one of the, if not the best thing you can do for recovery. And I'm talking about like really, really good deep sleep, hopefully not inhibited by alcohol or any kind of other substances that are like going to keep your body from fully getting into a deep sleep. But like in a really dark room, hopefully from the hours of 10 to 6, those are the most ideal kind of regenerative times. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to show around 10 to 2 a.m. is when you can get your best regenerative sleep. So if you're like only sleeping 4 hours in the night and then doing naps, yes, it's helping, but you're missing out on that really good sleep time. So sleep is the most unattractive, but most important answer. It's not going to sell any products. It's not going to sell any pills, and it's not going to get on any, you know, you'll watch a video on YouTube and it's like, chick, I want to see something that's like, you know, cool and fun. And yeah, it's not fun, but it's sleep. Okay. Just really from a recovery standpoint, it is absolutely biggest bang for your buck. I mean, the biggest antioxidant for your body is sleep, is that breathing time. So again, as long as your function during sleep is good, if you're not like snoring, if you don't have apnea, if you're having like a really good deep sleep experience, really phenomenal thing for recovery. Okay. Again, we already talked about hydration, but and it's not about like drinking any kind of like supplemental, energy drink or anything like that, or any kind of like mineral drink. Just drink water. If you can add a little sprinkle of sea salt or Himalayan salt, great. If you're getting some through your food, fine. But hydration goes a long way because it literally greases the hinges of your body. Little oil can Henry. So it really makes a big difference if you're doing that. I've seen workouts, especially like right after a workout. I will say this: right after a workout, within the first 2 hours. This is totally like unscientific, but just from my own experience, in about the first 2 hours, if you're not drinking a decent amount of water to kind of replenish, especially let's just say you did 20-minute AMRAP of burpees and snatches and squats, and you're dripping sweat all on the floor, you just had a traumatic event. Your body feels like it's in fight or flight. And on top of it, you just lost however many ounces of water and salt, by the way. Okay, so if you're not replenishing that and the salt as well, then I definitely think you're going to be behind. You're already behind the 8 ball, right? And you just sat down on the couch and you just been sweating. See, like all these things start to kind of create a negative recovery experience. So, okay, hitting your macros. So basically, eat food and protein. She's talking specifically about protein. And this kind of, I'll skip to the end about the supplementation right here too, because this is one of the most important things. If you are eating right after a workout, which I know Todd is for example, and Robin, but a lot of us do, right? You eat after a workout, or at least sometime within a workout. It really, unfortunately, the reality is when you're in a workout, your body does not care about food. It shuts all that down. So, and it really takes a long time for your body to get excited about food, hence the whole like, oh, I don't feel hungry anymore kind of thing. It is really, really, and unfortunately, even when you do feel hungry, the whole digestion process takes a very long time for those amino acids and carbohydrates take a little bit less time, obviously, but all those things, if you're just eating a normal meal, it takes a long time for that nutrition to actually get to your body. So all the blood's like in your muscles, you're out of breath, and then you try to eat. It's like it's going to sit like a rock in your stomach most of the time. So the point is, from a supplementational standpoint, I definitely think there is supplementational. Ooh, is that even a word? I definitely think there is room for supplementation around recovery, and that is a high quality protein powder. Vegan, vegetarian, grass-fed whey, all those kind of things definitely make a huge difference post-workout, especially when a lot of weight is involved, like lifting weight, throwing around weight, or if you're finding yourself not able to recover, a little bit of extra fast digesting liquid protein can make a big difference. I was saying on the call today, I do my little protein shake with the xanthan gum in it, so it kind of makes it into like a frozen smoothie treat. And so, but it's got that grass-fed whey that I get in there as well, and so it's really fast digesting. It gets to your bloodstream quickly, and that is important. That does make a difference. Other than that, creatine is another beneficial supplement. Yeah, sure. And I'll get to your guys' questions on the side here. So as soon as I hit through all of this, but yeah, so just make sure protein is a part of it. If you're vegan or vegetarian, there's tons of options: beans and peanuts and nuts and seeds and all these things that you can do from a vegan or vegetarian standpoint to get enough protein in. But protein, you shouldn't have so much that you're like really gassy or like having bowel issues. But you definitely, like, if you're feeling like you're not recovered, check out your protein levels, and a fast digesting protein post-workout can be beneficial, i.e. a protein shake. Okay. Protein shakes can be very easily overused, and I think are generally kind of abused in the fitness world. But definitely, if you're having an issue, again, you might have all the best intentions in the world of eating a steak and broccoli post-workout. It's going to sit like a rock in your stomach. That broccoli is probably going to make you gassy if you have any kind of cruciferous sensitivity. There's going to be all these things. Your body's not ready for that kind of stuff. So sip in a shake, and then maybe an hour later, eating whole foods can be beneficial. Okay. Foam rolling. Yeah, this one actually is like another one that's kind of like, it falls in this 5% or less kind of category in terms of like impact. I would say sleep is probably like 30, 40, or maybe even 50% of all this. Okay. But when we're talking about like the 5% or less, we're talking about supplementation. We're talking about foam rolling, massage gun, getting a massage, taking a bath. So I saw Tammy earlier talking about taking a hot bath, Epsom salt baths, hot tub, saunas, all these things kind of fall into that 5% or less. They're beneficial. They're not going to like make or break your recovery bank. They're going to do some good for your body, but they're not going to like take away that like severe hamstring tightness or that injury in your shoulder. They're just not. Okay. Unless you're getting like professionally done on a regular basis. And even then it's probably still not going to do it. But foam rolling is a great, simple, once you bought the foam roller, it's a free way to gently warm up. One of the best ways a client of mine ever put it, which is kind of just get some touch on your body. Your sense from a sensory standpoint, your body is all of a sudden kind of, it's getting a gentle massage. So it's really just helping that surface surface tissue blood flow. And so you're just kind of helping that process. Again, it's actually mildly inflammatory, but it's just helping that process. Sometimes inflammation is not the worst thing in the world, and you actually want a healing response. To get that healing response, a little bit of touch, and so your body is like, oh yeah, we're still shuttling blood there and nutrients there and all those kind of things. So really, really important. And then, yeah, post-workout supplements. So I kind of have to call this out, Todd. I thought it was interesting because you showed me this list and then you asked about the post-workout supplements, but didn't really ask about anything else. I think you said something along the lines of, I'm doing most of these things, but what about the supplements? But I do think it is human nature to kind of jump to the supplements because it is so easy to think about and so natural for all of us to think about. Like, if there's just one more pill. I've literally like bought a supplement within the last couple of months and like didn't open it. And like, I had to have a like come to Jesus talk with myself and say, you don't need this, return it. And I'm returning it. So like, I'm definitely guilty of this too, but it's really it's really easy to like focus on the supplementation part of it and kind of miss out on all the other bigger things. So let's actually go through Todd's specific questions and then I'll get to you guys' questions and then we'll hopefully be done after that. Okay, so he asked what the supplements would be. I mean, my biggest supplements for recovery in general are going to be, again, a fast digesting, high quality protein shake. Most of you are already doing that in some way, shape, or form. It can be used supplementally throughout the day. So like if post-workout isn't like an ideal time, which it should be doable, just take a scoop, shake it in some water and take it down real quick. It will help. But it can be used throughout the day. Again, the 24-hour cycle is a really big part of this. And so that's a really small amount of time to get in the sleep, the workout, the foam rolling, the eating, the drinking, all those kind of things. So it's a short amount of time. So the biggest supplements for me, fast digesting protein shake, high quality, definitely high quality. Some sort of fish oil or flax oil. So some sort of omega-3. If you can get ground flax, like I was talking about today, that's a phenomenal whole food way to do this. So if you can get whole food omega-3s, walnuts, salmon, flax, if you can get those in, phenomenal ways to kind of get that natural anti-inflammatory. I'm also very vehemently against like over-the-counter anti-inflammatory. So like NSAIDs or anything like that. Do not take that unless you're like directed by a doctor, but even still, like if you're having trouble sleeping, again, that's an alarm, right? But I get it. If you just need to get through the night, take an ibuprofen. But in general, those things can be really, really taxing on your liver, terrible on your gut. So try to avoid those at all costs. I'm still wildly surprised at how many people I train still claim, oh, I took a ibuprofen and I was fine. I mean, it's like, damn, don't use that as a reliant. Okay. Okay, sorry, there's still other ones. So, okay, some sort of fish oil, omega-3 supplement. Okay, let's put it that way. That's one of the most phenomenal ones. In fact, CrossFit famously said, even in their literature, their training literature, they're like, we don't recommend any supplementation because it's such a crapshoot out there because it's not a regulated business. They're like, if we can recommend one thing wholeheartedly, it is fish oil, basically, is what they said. So, some sort of omega-3, protein, creatine can absolutely. Creatine is the body's currency. It basically creates ATP in your body, which is your body's currency for energy. So like Creatine can be absolutely beneficial. Yes, you get it from food. Yes, it's naturally occurring. Supplementing it, if you're doing intense exercise on a regular basis, supplementing it with it, even some sort of cycling on it. So you don't have to get it all the time. So like maybe take it once every 3 months, like a bottle of it, whatever, in your shakes. Do that once every 2 months, every 3 months, whatever it is. It can definitely be beneficial. Yes, I do agree that food does not digest fast enough. Absolutely. And it's not even, see, the thing that unfortunately it's always been sold is like, if you want to get the ripped muscles, bro, you got to shove in all this nutrition. Yes, that's true, but it's like, don't even think about it from that standpoint. Think about it like, dude, I don't want to hurt nearly as bad. And my body is in this like fight or flight traumatic state. Your body is not ready to digest food and eat food. Your stomach, that's why a lot of times digestion issues or like gastrointestinal issues will happen after you just like shove in a bunch of food post-workout. Your body's not ready for that. So yes, I definitely agree that some sort of pre-digested or pulverized protein can absolutely be beneficial. It's not an elite athlete thing. No, it really is. I mean, again, I appreciate the fact that, and this is the last question from Todd, but it's, on here, it really is their input and output and from a nutrition, sleep. I mean, these people are like, this is their job. Okay. And they're like professionals at it. These are the kind of people that'll like sleep in oxygen deprivation tanks. I mean, they'll do anything and everything they can to get an edge and on recovery. For the Joe Schmo, I absolutely from a recovery standpoint suggest some sort of supplementation, but it should be minimal and it should be only as like quite literally a supplement to the other major things they're doing. Again, if you came to me right now and said, what can I do to best improve my recovery? I'm just going to say sleep. What can I do to lose fat? Sleep. Because I don't think anyone I've ever met has gotten sleep right, including myself. I mean, we all struggle with it in this day and age with all the lights, the tablets, the phones, the stress. Sleep is extremely hard to get right, and it is the most beneficial thing you can do for recovery, and consistently good sleep. You can't just get that one recovery sleep on like Saturday to Sunday morning and sleep 12 hours and be like, oh, I feel great. You really need a consistently good sleep is the absolute key to great recovery. So past that, there are some supplements that help. Do not get so invested in them that they're like, I don't think anyone in this group is like this, but like, don't get so invested in them that like you just notice yourself like taking huge gobfuls of pills every single day, or like you feel like if you miss one day of your pills, like your recovery is going to go off the rails. It's not going to happen. Fish oil, vitamin D3 is phenomenal. Especially in the Northwest, we have a hard time getting vitamin D3. It is a phenomenal supplement. It's relatively cheap. I mean, again, I'm never going to suggest like there's this one supplement that's like $200 and it'll change your life. None of that's good. There's also some evidence to show that actually what's interesting is nitrates and nitrates have some really beneficial like positive benefits for recovery. Of course, the sexy thing to say is beets. However, bacon also contains those, which of course people would be like, no, it's going to stop your heart. But yeah, so like for me personally, and I'm not going to sit here and like recommend bacon for people, but I just always think that's funny. And I always love to have that debate because vegetables are always like the sexy thing to say, like, or there's super healthy things in the world, but that is debatable. I do get the beet juice flavored gut shot from New Seasons. If you can get beet juice or pickle juice, I mean, you guys have probably heard this before. Pickle juice is a great recovery agent. It is. It's a lot of sodium. It's a lot of potassium. So electrolytes are quite literally magnesium, potassium, sodium. Those can absolutely, I know Tammy has dealt with this before. When we started doing Spartan races, we're having like cramps in the calves. That can be an issue. So electrolyte balance can be huge. So again, when I talk about hydration, definitely important to get water in. Watch guzzling tons of water though, and not getting the other electrolytes in. Eating magnesium-rich foods. Eating, things with sodium and potassium as well. Okay. Not just bananas. Bananas are actually a really crappy source of potassium compared to like an avocado. Okay. Yeah. So hot baths. I mean, yeah, anything that increases. So now I'm just reading along your guys' questions up here. Hopefully, Todd, I did a good enough job of, oh yeah. So actually, sorry, Todd, one more thing. So you were talking about eating once a day. Okay. So yeah, let me address this. And I think Tammy pointed out to this today. No bacon, no beer. I didn't say no bacon or beer. You just got to choose your spots. I eat bacon every day, but again, that's a whole nother story. So, eating once a day, so meal frequency can absolutely have detrimental effects. And this is something I had to kind of face in the mirror because I was doing a really extreme fasting protocol in addition to extreme CrossFit workouts 6 to 7 times a week. And my recovery got so severely and hindered that I started experiencing what I've been calling wobblies. It wasn't exhaustion. It wasn't like soreness. It was just all of a sudden I was experiencing this like vertigo-like experience. And for months it happened. And I was like doing everything in my power, quit alcohol completely for 2.5, 3 months almost. Like I was doing everything. I was sleeping like crazy. I was taking supplements. I was eating certain foods. I was drinking certain things. And I was trying everything I could to like, kind of put myself back in balance. And the one thing I wouldn't allow myself to look at was the fasting and the intense workouts during the fast. So I'm already kind of like a higher on the level on the scale anxiety person, if you guys know me. So it really just, the body's really good at dealing with all the shit. But at a certain point, it just was like, dude, we're not doing it anymore. And one night I was playing a gig and I felt like I was falling off my chair. And I was like, whoa, what is this? So combine a bunch of like, I already have inner ear issues in my family. I've had inner ear issues and vestibular issues as a child. And then you add that to the fact that I'm getting older. I'm approaching 40. And then you add that to an extreme fasting protocol and then intense exercise and a couple cups of coffee. So I actually recently quit caffeine too, which I actually love, by the way. Doing decaf, still get the delicious coffee with cream and not all the jitters and anxiety. So it's really helped with my anxiety. So if you're having any issues with hypertension or anxiety, I definitely suggest eliminating the caffeine. And honestly, it was actually zapping my energy. That was the weird thing. Like around when I would eat. So again, imagine like you've been fasting for like 12 to 15, 16, 17, 18 hours. And then you've had caffeine on top of it. And then you actually eat. I was literally crashing at like 4 p.m. every single day. I would just be like so devastated. And the thing is too with fasting is that your body is really good at fasting and it's really beneficial. Do not get me wrong. I can talk all day long about the benefits of fasting and I still do it on a regular basis. Sorry, not recently. I've been trying to minimize my fast to around 12 hours or less, which is actually hard for me. I literally find it hard to like shovel in the food, but I'm trying to do it just because I've actually had some really good success lately. Taking it easier on the workouts, doing some like recovery work, some mobility work, flexibility work, basic strength stuff in the gym, staying away from the high intensity interval stuff just temporarily until I can get this solved. And that combined with eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner has really, really helped. Now, does that mean I'm anti-fasting? Absolutely not. Fasting has a myriad of benefits. It is in our DNA. It's really, really good for you. However, that being said, you combine that with your age, whatever that may be, and your intense exercise, and it can be a problem, especially if you're feeling behind the 8 ball in terms of recovery. If you're only eating once a day, that really, so this is what I was experiencing. It only gave me 1 or 2 chances to actually get in all the protein and all the stuff. I was literally like binging and purging, which is not a healthy way to live. So that is definitely like, I really had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, dude, this isn't working. You're not recovering properly. You're having these wobblies, this kind of vertigo issue. And on top of it, you're basically mirroring a binging and purging kind of thing. And that's not beneficial. Okay. If you want to be serious as an athlete, you have to be able to look at yourself and be like, dude, this isn't working. Whatever is doing right now, it's not working. Okay. Whether you look in the mirror and you have the like stomach fat and you're like, damn, this isn't working. Or I just need one more workout, or I just need more intensity. It's not true. Whatever you're doing isn't working. So change something else and you might be surprised by the benefits. And sometimes that means going less. It rarely means going more, especially as you get older. Your body really does have a limitation for benefits. So that was kind of something I had to kind of come to grips with, which is for me, it's probably more around 4 to 5 workouts a week, more eating and not working out, an intense high, let's take the pedal to the metal kind of way every single day on a fasted stomach. I mean, again, once in a while, it's fine. But if you're doing this every single day, we have that quote on the wall at the gym. You are what you do repeatedly. And if you're doing something repeatedly, your body's really good at dealing with for a while. And then it'll, for me, it came out in a weird way. Like I was like, oh, I'm not tired. I feel great. But then I really had to look at myself and I was like, dude, I'm actually not feeling as good. What's optimal, right? Like, and I mean, sometimes it can get overwhelming to think about all this crap. And you're like, dude, I don't really care. Look it. Like, let's just do the workout and screw it. It's really easy to get that way because it can be overwhelming to think about all this stuff, which is why I always just go back to the basics, like just sleep, eat well, and know when it's time to take it back a notch and not check out of the gym. I really do believe that everyone should be doing something every day. It just is going to look different from time to time, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. Okay. So yes, hot baths are great. I use hot baths for my own breathing time. I will do my Wim Hof breathing method. I will do, which is funny because Wim Hof is all about like being in the cold. But I'll do it in the bath. I'll do some box breathing meditations in the bath. Obviously no risk of like me falling asleep or anything like that, but that's like my breathing time. So yeah, I'll take like a 15-minute bath, sometimes even twice a day. But that's my version of getting clean. So it's like, I'm going to take a shower anyway. Might as well just take a nice hot bath with some Epsom salt and relax. Water reminder. Yeah. I mean, a lot of this does come down to like tricks and tips for yourself. Everyone's different. Okay. Some people need the big bottle of water to like walk around with. Some people don't. Like for me, if I don't bring my bottle to the gym and I'll rely on just the cups that we have in the gym, I will absolutely drink less water. Yeah. So use whatever tricks and tips you can for yourself. And a lot of this is just kind of play it by ear. So, yeah, some people, certain things work and some people don't, or some things don't work for people. Yes, hydration is absolutely huge. Okay, now I drink a little. Yeah, meal timing with exercise and intermittent fasting. I think I hopefully addressed that. So yeah, kind of wrap it up here. Again, play with it. If you're having issues recovering, you might need to play with your oh, thanks, Ken. Thanks for actually hopping on. That's awesome. If you're having issues with recovery, meal timing could be a part of it, right? So like I've talked to Tammy specifically about maybe 2 to 3, 4 times a week, and it's different for women and men. It's different for different ages. So you might need to eat breakfast 3 times a week just to get back some of that protein, because breakfast really can be a great opportunity. I used to do like bulletproof coffees. Obviously done tons of intermittent fasting for like 5 years plus. And seeing great results with it and actually had tons of energy with it. But again, every once in a while, it can be very beneficial to just get in that extra amount of protein. So just a couple, eggs and some bacon or a piece of toast, whatever is your jam not jam, don't eat jam. Whatever is your thing for breakfast, high protein. Honestly, breakfast, anything eaten before noon for the most part for people should be no carb. I mean, I firmly believe that. So just high protein, even if it's like a lentil stew from the night before, eat something with high protein, minimal carb. Don't eat fruit for breakfast. That's not going to do anything for you except for jack up your blood sugar. CBD as a supplement. Yeah. I mean, CBD again, kind of falls into the whole like 5% or less thing. Like I think it can be beneficial. I think it can acutely on things be beneficial from a topical standpoint. I mean, I've had some wild success with like the blue product, that kind of intense, whatever. I don't even know what's in that stuff. That blue, lotion rub is just phenomenal. But again, it's not going to solve the fact that my traps have like wildly deep knots. What's going to solve that is maybe not doing 5 times a week, overhead pressing. So, I mean, let's be real. So no bacon, no beer. I mean, alcohol is probably one of the worst things you can do for recovery. It's just true. Now, can you have alcohol and still recover from workouts? Yes. Here's what alcohol is going to do. It's going to do threefold. And this is real and you cannot get around it. I don't care how little or much you have. Now, that being said, they have done studies and there is a certain amount you can have on a daily basis and not technically affect your recovery. That is true. There are studies. We can find it. It's more for men and it's less for women. That being said, in general, the 3 things that happen when you drink alcohol is 1, your body shifts completely away from its natural cycle. And again, a lot of this is just regulating your body. So if your body is irregularly functioning, recovery is going to be shit. So if your body is functioning well, it's going to recover well. Okay. So as soon as you drink alcohol, your body shifts away from its natural fat burning processes, detoxing processes, and has to really focus in on this alcohol that it now has to deal with. Okay. The inflammation from alcohol will make you more sore the next day. Okay. If you guys have ever done a workout on a Saturday and then gone out Saturday night and woken up Sunday and been like, holy crap, that workout was crazy. I guarantee you it's way more the alcohol than it is. Those times when I wasn't drinking alcohol at all, oh my God, like my recovery was insane. Like I was waking up being like, let's freaking get it. Like every single day I had more energy, which I just think is true in general if you're not drinking alcohol. And then two, the inflammation is way worse or way less. So like, again, some people can process alcohol differently. But if your liver is sick in any way, shape, or form, which most people's are these days because of alcohol, sugar, sedentarianism, like just sitting around and all that shit, it can be bad. But again, there is a small amount that you can have on a daily basis to enjoy a little bit of alcohol and not have. But again, the inflammation will make your joints and muscles hurt more. Okay. It will make your knees hurt more. I know that sounds weird, right? But it's true. And then the last thing is it affects your sleep. So anything that affects your sleep, actually, one of the best things I heard recently I actually sent it out to all you guys. I don't know if you guys watched it. It is a long video. It's about a 45-minute chat between two doctors. And one of the best things I heard on that video was in terms of just overall health from a nutrition standpoint is feed the gut and heal the liver. Or actually it might have been heal the gut and protect the liver. That might have been it. Either way, those two things are such sound advice, which is eat fermented foods, eat things that feed your gut biome, and then do things to protect your liver. You do those things, you're going to heal a lot of ailments in your body. And unfortunately, alcohol, it does punish the liver. Also, exercising can be good for your liver. It can kind of like give it a gentle squeeze. It can be a detoxing thing, but it's also just really intense on your body. So they can be problematic for like kidney function, liver function can be impeded by excessive exercise. I mean, there's a reason that rhabdo is a thing. So if you drink Natty Light, dude, I swear light beers are the worst thing ever. I'm not going to go over an hour, guys. So I'm cutting this off in a couple minutes, but I'm more than well. I'm just going to keep blabbing until about the end of the hour. So I appreciate you guys all watching this. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. If there's more questions, definitely feel free to hit it up on the WhatsApp chat, email me at eric@gmail, or you can do the one at the quad, eric@thequadpdx.com. You can always hit me up on an email if you have any other questions about this stuff. But yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll say about all this stuff is really plug and play with whatever feels good. Again, for me, my personal experience, I had to really take a deep look at myself. I was like, there's no way it can be the fasting. There's no way it can be the exercise. Those are two things that are really, really good for you. And that is true. But two things can be true. The amount of fasting and exercise I was doing was not good for me. It was not good for a 38-year-old Eric Michelet in Beaverton, Oregon. It might be different for you. And so, whatever's going to help get the nutrition properly in for you and make you, feed your body, not your fat cells, like all those kind of things, right? So you don't have to just glutton on food just to be able to work out, but there is a balance, right? So a lot of this is about balance, which is a term I didn't even bring up in this whole thing, but that's really what this comes down to is balance. If you're working out intensely 1 hour a day, even though it's only 1 hour, your body is dealing with that process. It's like an atom bomb. I mean, it just blows up. So there's so many things that come out for that. And then you're only having like 6 hours of sleep, and then you're just going to do it all again. You're stressed from your job, and you're stressed from your relationship, and you're stressed from the kids and whatever it is. I mean, there's so many things that like impede your recovery. All those things do it. Stress is a huge one. All these inflammatory things. So unfortunately, there is no magic pill. There really is just getting back to the homeostasis of what your body should be functioning at. And sometimes we don't even notice that, the things that we're doing, the patterns that we're doing, and everything's a pattern, right? Like we're all creatures of habit. So sometimes your habits are not the best things for you. So you just kind of have to like take a deep look at yourself and be like, is there something else I can try? And try it for a couple of weeks and just see what happens. Worst case scenario, it's not going to get better. If you're trying like eat a little extra food, you might gain a little extra fat. Okay, but if you feel better, that fat will eventually go away. So like sometimes people need more carbohydrates, especially in the evening. So I time all of my carbohydrates into the evening. So like 3 months ago, I was doing fasting up until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock every day, and then trying to shove all my food into about 4 to 9 p.m. window. So 5 hours and just shoving in all this food. I was bloated. I was gassy. I was having all these digestive issues. So now all I'm doing is just having a high protein, no carb breakfast, high protein, high fat. So tons of energy, getting into the gym with some energy, and I'll have carbohydrates in the evening, which your body actually is more apt to. I know this is completely contrary to most people's belief that you're just going to burn off the carbs, but from a hormonal standpoint, which is way more impactful for weight gain and for performance standpoint, your hormones are a big part of it. Your body does not want carbohydrate in the morning. In fact, it stores it immediately as fat and does not burn through it. So whereas in the evening, your body's it's actually a great way to kind of send your body into sleep, is have a nice little, bowl of yogurt and berries, maybe a banana or an apple or something like that at night is absolutely beneficial for nighttime. It actually kind of, especially after a workout, a little bit of fruit, just a little bit, can go a long way in terms of kind of calming your body down, or a little bit of carbohydrate can really go a long way. So again, play with it, just like mess around with it. Like do things that you feel like are smart and that might benefit you. There's might be one or two things. Don't like change everything, but change something, and change something that you maybe haven't even tried before. I think, last thing I'll say is everyone for the most part is like thinking it's going to take more, or thinking it's going to take more intensity, more time. I've got to warm up 20 minutes in the morning. I've got to warm up 20 minutes before the workout. I've got to cool down for 20 minutes. Work smarter, not harder. So figure out what the minimal effective dose for you is for all of these things, and really pick your poison when it comes to things that you want to focus on. If you really take a hard look in the mirror and you're like, you know what, my sleep is really shitty, start there. Like I just recently went back to getting Factor 75 meals because I was having a really hard time getting a consistent, high quality, nutritious dinner in my life. So there you go. I mean, sometimes it just takes changing something. If you can have all the best intentions in the world, and if it's just not happening, take a look around, take some stock. And I think this is another big thing that we miss a lot of times when we're doing workouts all the time, is it's easy just to be lost in the workout, lost in the 24-hour cycle. Hey, I brought it all the way back around. If we get lost in the 24-hour cycle of wake up, get ready to do the day, do the work, all that stuff, and then work out, it's really easy to get lost in that. Sometimes take a weekend or a day to just say, you know what, or a week to kind of track something, look at something, do some research on your own, like look into things, ask me questions, all those kind of things, or start a debate with me. I don't care. You can argue with me all you want. I love arguments. I love debates about this kind of stuff because it is important. And sometimes changing one thing can make all the difference in the world. So like I said, I'm not going past the hour. Thanks so much for joining me, guys, and I will see you soon. Have a good night.